I want to be able to watch Iran, Trump said further during the CBS interview. Iran is a real problem. He explained that 99% of ISIS's territory had been liberated, but that a contingency of U.S. troops must remain to prevent a resurgent Islamic State as well as to counter Iranian influence, for which American forces must remain in Iraq as well. When I took over, Syria was infested with ISIS. It was all over the place. And now you have very little ISIS, and you have the caliphate almost knocked out, the president said. We will be announcing in the not-too-distant future 100% of the caliphate, which is the area, the land, the area 100. We're at 99% right now. We'll be at 100. However, Trump's invoking Iranian influence as a rationale for staying further contradicts his prior December statement that the defeat of ISIS was the only reason he was in Syria in the first place. Margaret Brennan: how many troops are still in Syria? When are they coming home? President Donald Trump: 2,000 troops. Margaret Brennan: when are they coming home? President Donald Trump: they're starting to, as we gain the remainder, the final remainder of the caliphate of the area. They'll be going to our base in Iraq, and ultimately some will be coming home. But we're going to be there and we're going to be staying. Margaret Brennan said that's a matter of months. President Donald Trump: we have to protect Israel. We have to protect other things that we have. But they'll be coming back in a matter of time. Look, we're protecting the world. We're spending more money than anybody's ever spent in history, by a lot. We spent, over the last 5 years, close to $50 billion a year in Afghanistan. That's more than most countries spend for everything including education, medical, and everything else, other than a few countries. CBS Face the Nation February 3 interview transcript: the Pentagon in recent weeks has reportedly been putting logistics in place for a troop drawdown from northern and eastern Syria, though it remains unclear just how many troops could remain as the majority possibly begin to pull out toward U.S. bases in Iraq. The Tanf base could remain Washington's last remote outpost, disrupting what U.S. defense officials see as a strategic Baghdad-Damascus corridor and highway, and potential key link in the Tehran-to-Beirut so-called Shia land bridge. Foreign Policy magazine has identified this argument as the final card the hawks opposing Trump's drawdown had to play in order to hinder to an actual complete U.S. exit. Al-Tanf is a critical element in the effort to prevent Iran from establishing a ground line of communications from Iran through Iraq through Syria to southern Lebanon in support of Lebanese Hezbollah, an unnamed senior U.S. military source told the magazine. The Israeli Prime Minister has pushed hard against the White House pullout plan, and has repeatedly urged the U.S. to keep troops at Al-Tanf, according to several senior Israeli officials, who also asked not to be identified discussing private talks, per Bloomberg. The Israelis have reportedly argued the mere presence of American troops will act as a deterrent to Iran, even if in small numbers, as a kind of symbolic threat. The internal administration debate, following incredible pushback against Trump's withdrawal decision, has made entirely visible the national security deep state's attempt to check the commander-in-chief's power. And now U.S. presence at Al-Tanf represents the last hope of salvaging the hawks' desire for permanent proxy war against Iran inside Syria. It appears the deep state has won out over Trump's initial policy decision once again, but it remains to be seen if, however slowly on what's clearly a delayed timetable departing from his original plans, all U.S. troops ultimately exit Syria. Until then, there'll be more time and perhaps more provocations the hawks can rely on to effectively ensure full-circle return to indefinite occupation in Syria.